Get Gutsy, episode number 125 on what death has taught me. Welcome to Get Gutsy. I'm your host, Jenny Fennig, and I am so excited to be on this journey with you. A cutting-edge show blending business and spirituality, Get Gutsy serves up a potent blend of stories, lessons, and tips to help you make a massive impact in the world through your soul's work and your inspired life. No more going it alone, no more excuses. The world needs more brave women saying yes to leadership. Are you with me? Good. Let's get gutsy now. Hey everyone, Jenny here. Much love, much love, much love. Listen, I haven't done a solo episode in a while. If you've been a listener of Get Gutsy for some time, you know that for a period I was doing interview episodes and solo episodes every single week. And then we made some changes. And those changes feel really, really right. And I hope you're digging what we have for you on the show and you continue listening. And our guests are just blowing my mind. And the way that I'm recording the episodes is simply working for me so well, especially now that my life has evolved and I'm homeschooling my second grader and just everything and still growing this business and listening to spirit and just doing it, even if what I'm doing is not what I thought I was going to be doing. I think that's the key to life. But today's a special day. This episode is going live on February 27th. Today's special because it is the anniversary of my sister Julie's death. And as it was coming up, I said, I want to do a solo episode. And the way I've created it is I wrote first. I wrote like a deep dive blog because honestly, y'all, my biggest love is writing. The writing gets inside of me. It really does. It comes closest to my heart, closest to my soul. And so what I found when I do these kinds of things, like solo episodes, or I'm gonna, go live on something and deliver a message, that the most powerful way for me to do it is to go deep with pen to paper first, right? Keyboard to screen, and see what comes up that way. That is my greatest contribution is my writing when it comes to delivering messages and then distilling them down into lessons that you can apply to your life. And then what I wanted to do was create a podcast episode too from the writing. So those of you beautiful listeners out there can be served through audio form. And then those of you who like to read can go read it. And you who like to do both can do both. And what I ask is that you take this in and that you share it, with people in your world. Something that I did to prepare for this process and delivering this message to you was to reach out to my community and to ask you all what death has taught you, right? The lessons learned that you have received. How has it shaped you? How has it influenced your approach to life? And so I am going to give a shout out to those of you in my community who shared your stories with me. And what I'm asking is that you share this episode with people in your world, or you share my blog posts with people in your world, and know that gosh, so many of us have been touched by death. Maybe not as closely as I have or as you have, but we can't get through this life without being touched by death. We're all going to die. We're going to have people in our life who die. And when we don't, as a society, talk about it, we have issues, okay? Death should not be taboo. It should not be something that we tiptoe around. It should be something that we can hold together, that we can grieve together, we can grow together, we can cry together, we can celebrate together, all of it. So that is my intention in creating this episode for you today, is to share with you what death taught me. Here we go. Death. Curiosity led me to the dictionary to see the official definition. Here it is. The act of dying, the end of life, the total and permanent cessation of all the vital functions of an organism. These words feel so final, so firm, so end of story. And yet for me, death is where the story truly begins anew, where one chapter certainly ends, but another one begins. This next chapter is typically filled with grief disguised as coping behaviors ranging from moderately healthy to downright destructive. I know this to be very true. Jenny, why all the talk about death, you may be asking? I'll tell you why. Today is the 23rd anniversary of my sister Julie's passing. She was 12 years old when she died from brain cancer. I was 16. It was brutal. Her short life and relatively short illness, around 13 months, changed my entire world and worldview. While I couldn't grasp the magnitude of what this meant at that moment in time, the last 23 years have brought with them plenty of time and space to wrestle with the questions and to connect deeply with angelic and spiritual realms. One thing I've learned about death is that anniversaries bring stuff to the surface. When this happens to you, don't be freaked out, okay? It's normal. Since Julie's death on February 27th, 1994, every February since has brought with it some very interesting energy. It's hard to exactly describe the vibe of February, but I'll simply say this. It teaches me something every single time. Memories from her final days come flooding back. I have vivid dreams. I tend to want to sleep more. I'm more emotional and prone to, quote, all or nothing, end quote, feelings. I book a trip or a training, or I buy something big that we need, or I do all of those things. I make decisions. I make moves. I see the bigger picture. My vision becomes more clear. I have to tell you that I'm grateful that her death doesn't trigger me anymore. I'm grateful that I've released the guilt and the shame and the anger. I carried that stuff for 2 decades until I just couldn't take it anymore. I had to let go. It was too fucking heavy. I had to let go for my sanity and my family and my future. EMDR work with my therapist helped immensely. Hey, and if you don't know what EMDR is, go listen up to some of my previous episodes here on Get Gutsy. I interviewed a dear friend of mine, Juliette Labine. She's actually a student at my coaching school right now. She's an amazing therapist, trained in EMDR. Interviewed her several months back about EMDR and her path with it and what it does for people. So go listen to that episode. It's extraordinary. Okay, and I've talked about it on other episodes too. If you've been listening to me for a while, it's not the first time you heard about EMDR. And if you are dealing with major trauma right now in your life, from your past or something right now, go look into EMDR. It could absolutely change your life. Something else that helped immensely, bearing my soul in my book, Get Gutsy, and writing a very detailed memoir-style account about my sister's last day in her body. If you've read my book, you know what I'm talking about. It's chapter 3, and I have to tell you straight up, it just about wrecked me to write that piece. And big, mad, crazy, awesome love to my writing coach, Rachel Resnick, who held me through that process. I could not have done that without her. That was absolutely cathartic. What I know now to be true when it comes to pain, especially related to death and grief, you have got to feel it to heal it. Babe, do not be afraid to feel things. Good things, hard things, amazing things, shitty things, confusing things. Feeling your feelings is a gift. Feeling your feelings can also be fucking terrifying. Much of the world is absolutely freaked out by their feelings, so they numb out with alcohol or drugs or work or the internet or TV or sex or shopping or food or nonstop noise. The goal? Comfortably numb. But numb isn't comfortable. Numb is a cop-out. Numb is an escape. What I have learned You can't bypass grief. It will come and get you because it has something to teach you. Please, please trust me on this. I tried that. I tried that. I tried that. Oh my God, did I try that? Trust the waves of grief, and grief will transform you. The grief will move through you and crack you open in ways that let the light shine through. Do not be afraid. This is what happened to me. I ran and ran and ran and ran so damn hard for so many years from the grief and the shame and the anger about Julie. I managed to finish high school. Remember, she died when I was 16. I was a junior in high school. I finished high school. I went away to college, although I really wanted to stay home and go to our community college in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I wanted to continue being that big fish in the small pond, but my mom wouldn't let me. I'll always be grateful to her for that. I know that must not have been easy for her. I could have really gotten stuck if I would have stayed in that small town. No offense to that town. It's a great little town. But it simply wasn't the place that I was supposed to stay and grow and heal. So I went away to college 2 hours away, University of Florida, and I numbed out there. I numbed out. Got into the, party scene like a lot of college kids do. But you know what? I still kicked ass as a student. I went to all my classes. I studied. I had amazing grades. I got involved in groups and really got on my career path. I graduated summa cum laude. I landed my dream job in New York City. And I got to New York and I partied my ass off in my 20s while working my ass off, only to realize that I was working in the wrong career and I had to start over again. How did I know? How did I know? Because I stopped and got quiet. It was when I got quiet and asked myself what I was going to do and what I was doing right then. That's when I got the answer from none other than my sister Julie. She had been guiding me all along, but I often would forget. I'd lose her. I'd lose the connection to her amidst the noise and the running and the climbing of the ladder. I'd forget why I was here because I was too consumed by the fact that she wasn't. Until I remembered that she was still here. She is still here. She is here. She's always been here. And the more that I've embraced this, the more that my life expands beyond my wildest dreams. My business evolves and shapeshifts and attracts the most amazing people I get to teach and coach and serve. And Julie's with me every step of the way. Y'all, I have to tell you something. She gives me names of my programs. Julie literally whispered the name of my mastermind, Glow, when I was in the midst of launching it a few years ago. I was like struggling trying to come up with a name. I was like up late. It was like 2 a.m. one night. I'm like, what the F is the name of this thing? What is it? What is it? What is it? And I heard her whisper, Glow. And I started laughing because I remembered the name of this wrestling show that we used to watch called Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. If you watch it, you know what I'm talking about. It was a freaking rad show. And I started thinking about that. We would stay up late on Friday nights and watch Glow. And I started laughing because I just remember that. And I was like, oh my God. And then I realized, wait, the Glow that she was telling me was the name of this program. And it stood for Gutsy Leaders of Wisdom. And I just collapsed onto the floor. And I realized I'm not doing this alone. Sometimes I have felt alone, like I'm doing this all alone. This work, it's bigger than me. This mission, it's bigger than me. It's for all of us. It's all of our mission. It's a collective effort. It's a co-creative experience, this adventure, this journey that we're on. And Julie's helping me, and your people are helping you too. I promise you that. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. Julie comes with me on my retreats all over the world. She helps me deal with stuff I don't want to deal with. She stays in the room with me. She believes in me still. She was always my biggest fan, and she still is. This is true for your people too. This is true. You hear me? Do you feel me on this? You're not doing this by yourself, babe. You got your people with you. You got your angels. You got your guides. I promise you. I promise you. Do you feel me? Do you feel them? It is Julie, as well as the spirits of my best friend Sonda Deskins and her brother Mark Deskins, that allow me to walk in faith. I was dealt 3 deaths in 3 years, at 16 years old, 17 years old, and 19 years old. And you better believe these deaths have shaped me, humbled me, haunted me, humored me, given me perspective that most don't have. Julie, Mark, Sonda. 1, 2, 3. They all died young. None of us were ready. And yet, here we are. These brave souls are my spirit guides, the ones who remind me to live well and to be alive while I am in fact alive. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Some people die at 25 and aren't buried until 75. That better not be you. I know it's not you if you're listening to this show, but maybe you got some people around you who vibing on that. I want you to keep your vibe high and live while you're alive. These brave souls, my spirit guides, they guide me and remind me to honor the call of my soul, to be a nonconformist, to zig when others zag, to go on awesome vacations with my family, to go to India for my 40th birthday. Oh my gosh, y'all, that's coming up soon. Coming up soon. And you know I'm going to be sharing some lessons learned, and I'm going to be telling you soon about how a small crew will get some deep, deep lessons learned from my journey through India. Oh my gosh. I'm just thinking about it right now. I'm like, oh my gosh. Whew. I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills. My spirit guides, Julie and my crew, right? And my ancestors too, I didn't mention by name, but all my grandparents, great grandparents, great, all of them. All of them. They're all with me. They're all with me. Your people are with you too. These people, my guides, these angelic and spiritual realms, this energy inspires me to bring something to the surface now that I wasn't planning on, but I'm surrendering into anyway. They inspire me to care deeply and to not care at all about stuff that simply doesn't matter. They inspire me to surrender and to surrender some more and to embrace that done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. And P.S., y'all, I've got a free training coming up on that very, very topic. jennyfenig.com/done. jennyfenig.com/done. You're going to want to come. Absolutely make that happen. jennyfenig.com/done. It's going to be hot. And my people inspire me to care about the opinions of a very, very, very small number of people. Very. And that has been one of my biggest lessons learned through the years. I used to care so much about what people thought, what they were thinking about me, how they were talking about me, if they understood me or if they didn't. Did they like me? Did they get what I was doing? And the more that I've learned from Spirit and from my sister and my guides and simply me being here on the planet, again, I'm coming up on 40 very soon. The number of people whose opinions I value, that number gets smaller every year, honestly. And not because I don't care about people, it's simply because I know that I know what matters and I know whose opinions truly, truly count. I certainly get insight from others. I get feedback and I will ponder that feedback. I will sit with that feedback. But when it comes to the opinions that are going to influence decisions I make, the number of people whose opinions I will completely make a decision based on those opinions, that number is very, very small. And I want you to take that in right now. It's super important for your journey. Norman Cousins said this: death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what dies inside us while we live. When you care so much about what the whole world thinks about you, something inside of you dies. Something really, really important inside of you dies. Okay? All this life experience, the death of my sister, my guides, my knowingness that I am a spiritual teacher, all of this stuff allows me to get scared and to be okay with that. I want to be scared regularly. I want to push myself to the limits to see what I'm made of and to surround myself with others who embrace this energy too. Because you know what? I don't have time for bullshit or excuses or reasons why something won't work. I'm not interested in hanging out with flakes or fakers or quitters or people unwilling to deal with their shit. Cowboy John Wayne, he said this: courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. Let me tell you, when you deal with your shit, that's going to be fucking scary. All right? Dealing with the death of my sister, scary, terrifying. Avoided it at all costs for as long as possible. Okay? Dealing with lots of stuff that I've had to deal with as I've grown my business, as I have grown my family. I mean, I have 3 kids. Just starting a family was scary. Getting married was scary. I was terrified. I come from divorced parents. I didn't have a lot of modeling of healthy relationships growing up. I thought I was kind of like doomed. Okay. And here I am. It was scary. And yet I did it. And I did it with the help of healers and guides and those who had my back, who had my best interests at heart. You see? Death has taught me that it comes without asking permission. It comes without fairness. It comes slowly and swiftly and quickly and messily and perfectly and tragically. It comes, leaving a lot of unfinished business in its wake. The ultimate mystery we are living with is, when will we die? The question I encourage you to ask yourself: what will you do between now and the time of your death? What do you want to see? What do you want to create? What changes will you make? How will you love? Who will you love? Where will you go? What will you do? Who will you be? When will you stop waiting? My work is dedicated to helping you live truthfully so that when you die happy and you will die free. And the world will rejoice that you were alive, my love, and you mattered because you helped others feel that they mattered too. This is it. This is what it's all about. Life, death, and what comes between. I want to give shout outs now to several beautiful souls in my community for sharing their experiences with death. I really, really appreciate you, beautiful souls, for speaking up. I can't do this work without some feedback and some connection and collaboration and sharing. And so I very much am grateful to Facebook for helping to facilitate the connection that I have with much of you in my community. Again, if you're not part of our community, you can go to gutsygalaxy.com and come on in. That's a link to our Facebook group where I share upcoming podcast episodes, blog posts that I've written, some really cool offerings that we have on the table, and you can connect with other spiritual entrepreneurs and leaders and teachers on the path, okay? And here's a shout out to those of you who, again, spoke up and shared your just poignant, beautiful, heartbreaking, gorgeous stories. I am so, so grateful for you and for your courage. And I know that your people and your angels and your guides are so proud of you. Oh my gosh, I know that. And my sister channels this for me too. My sister channels this. So Julie very much is part of this episode. And when you see our graphic that we put out on social media for this episode, you'll see that it's a photo of my sister and me on the beach when we were kids. And I had my designer use that photo. We've never used a photo like that in our podcast graphics before, and it just felt right. And we put both of our names on it. Like, Julie is absolutely channeled during this episode. Like, she's speaking through me these lessons she helped me learn. I couldn't have learned the lessons without her. And so I first want to give a shout out to my sister Julie for for fucking allowing me to learn these lessons. I didn't want to learn these lessons, but you know what? I had to. This was my karma. This was my dharma. This was what I was meant to experience in this lifetime. And several years back, I worked with an intuitive guide who channeled my sister. And I am into all that. If you're not, then, either listen up or tune out. But I'm into those who can channel spirit. And a dear friend, intuitive, she channeled my sister, and I learned that my sister does this work from the other side, and that our missions were to both do this work, and to me to be doing it here in the earthly realm, and for her to do it in the angelic realms, and together we co-create, we collaborate. And so to say that my work is done without my sister would be totally untrue. I often will say like we, and I'm talking about, my team, and I have human angels on my team as well as like angels, but my sister very much does this work with me. And I am so grateful to you, Julie. I feel you, and I know that you are speaking through the keyboard often when I'm typing things. And when I'm speaking, it's like your energy is right here, and I know that you're in this room with me. So big love to you, Julie. Big love to you. I feel you, and dudes. Also, you guys, Julie has been sending me crazy signs this month. It's insane. It's like it's cracking me up, and also just like humbling me. I'm brought to my knees with just what is up, just what this all is. Okay. An official shout out to all you beautiful souls who spoke up. Michelle PW, Michelle PW, who I'm interviewing for this podcast very soon. Katie Ann Cotton, Elena Mortali, Juliette Labine, Deborah Fox, Rosie Mecca Lancaster, Dawn Renee Keller, Christopher Brooks, aka Chris Brooks, Martina Rutledge, Melanie Garner, Christelle Arcucci, Sherry Janand, Stacy Anastasia, Theodosin, Karen Belinsky Matheson, Beth Ferguson, Thea Jorbina, Heather Lynn Brito, Kelly Leary Sipe, Vanessa Moss, Amber, Deem, Hewer. And if I mispronounce any of your names, my apologies. I did my best. I feel your energy, and I, again, am so grateful. And my heart goes out to you because, y'all, like I said, death isn't, it's not pretty. It's uncomfortable, and it's messy, and it's heartbreaking, and yet we're all still here, and there's a reason. And if you've forgotten, I hope that this episode is a gentle, loving reminder to you that you are still alive for a reason, and your people are absolutely still with you. You may not be able to see them in physical form. I know pictures aren't the same. What I wouldn't give to be able to sit across a table from Julie and have lunch and have her hang out with my kids in physical form. Absolutely, she's here in spiritual form. I have no doubt about that. And those of y'all who have experienced the death of a child or a parent or a sibling or a really good friend or a team member or whatever, fill in the blank, you know what I'm talking about. There's a hole, there's a loss, and I'm not going to gloss over that and pretend that it's easy or that it goes away instantly. It's a process. This is me talking to you 23 years after the biggest loss of my life, and I'm still here, and I'm good, and I'm healthier than I've ever been, and my heart's still open. It's open. And I know that there's still so much of life to experience, and I'm not afraid to die. I don't want to die yet. I've got a lot left in me. I have a lot more people to help. I have a lot more places to visit and a lot more experiences that my family and I are going to have. And I'm still here. And I know I'm here for a reason. And you better believe that I will make every day count. And when I do die, I ain't going out with regrets. You want to join me on this quest? Okay. Okay. Game on. Game on, baby. All right. I know I'm going to see you on my free training coming up on March 9th. jennyfennig.com/done. jennyfennig.com/done. Get your spot and get your butt there. Okay? I love you all. I do. And if you're going through a hard time right now, just know that you're not given more than you can handle, even when it feels like you are. And I'm so blessed that I get to walk this road with you. This is Jenny Fennig sending you so much love, light, and faith as you get gutsy. I'll see you next time.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Get Gutsy with Jenny Fennig. Gutsy leaders unite and ignite.